Stuffing and rolling a pork loin is a really great way to make a fancy statement meal without a whole lot of work. So I thought I would show you real quick how I butterfly the pork loin before I roll it up. It's actually pretty easy. So I'm going to take my knife. I usually just use a chef's knife, but use whatever you're most comfortable with. You're going to cut your pork loin across the middle. You don't want to go all the way through. You want to leave about 1/4 of an inch of pork loin on the other side. Go slow because you don't want to go through. This pork loin's not the best to start with, but it'll work. I like to buy my pork loins whole when they're on sale, and then I usually just cut them into like thirds and then freeze them because that's a size that works well for us. So now you're gonna put your hand on top of half the pork loin. You're gonna start from the middle and you're gonna cut it in half again. Again, you don't wanna go all the way to the side. You're gonna leave about 1/4 of an inch so that you can just open it up. If it's easier for you to tell what you're doing to kind of open it as you go, you can go that route. Just kind of whatever makes it easiest for you to tell where you're at. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just kind of open it up here. All right. And then for me, it's easiest to go ahead and just turn the board around and cut the last piece here. Because otherwise you're either cutting with your non-dominant hand or cutting at an awkward angle. So again, this pork loin was kind of shabby to start with, but given the circumstances, I was lucky to get it at all. All right. So now we've got our pork loin kind of opened up here. Again, it's not perfect, but it'll do. It doesn't have to be. All right, so then you can stuff it with anything you like. It's I've got a version that's stuffed with apple on the my site that's really good. You could do it with stuffing. I've done it with caramelized onions and like a Gruyere. Today we're gonna go ahead and make a Parmesan spinach cream cheese stuffing. In here I've got my cream cheese mixed with some Parmesan cheese and garlic and pepper. Usually I use green onions, but I have some chives in our herb garden. I've got a ton of them, so I went ahead and went out there and just cut some of those, mix that in. Now the only thing that you want to be careful to do is squeeze as much of the liquid out of the spinach as you can, just so that it's not soggy. You don't have to get it perfect again, but you just don't want like a soggy filling here. So it's a lot like a warm cheesy spinach dip inside your pork loin, and it's pretty delicious if I do say so. So we'll just get this mixed up real quick. All right, and then you can spread it on there however is easiest for you. I tend to use my hands for stuff. They're already dirty, so might as well. So we'll just go ahead and get this filling kind of spread on the pork loin here. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and start down here where it's kind of shaggy, and you have that be the middle, and we're just going to roll this up. All right, now from here you can tie it if you want, or use a couple of toothpicks to kind of hold it together. We're going to sprinkle it with salt and pepper, and we're going to brown it on both sides. I like using a Dutch oven for this, just because the cast iron's nice and heavy, and then you can just put the lid on when you put it in the oven to finish it off, but you can do it however you'd like. All right. So as you can see, you want to get it nice and brown Honestly, flipping it over is the hardest part of this whole recipe, but it's worth it. Like I said, I like to do it in my Dutch oven just because it goes from the stove to the oven so easily, and you can just put the lid on. Otherwise, you want to just tent it with foil and then stick it in the oven until it reaches an internal temperature of 145. All right, it's been cooked and it's had a nice good rest. So let's see how it looks. All right, see, nice and easy. Dinner served.